Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's great to see you all here. You guys have been hanging out in the chat, been saying hi. Peter, Daniel, Colette, Mariana, Ahmed is in there, I know. A bunch of people. So, sorry, I got to turn this off. Okay. So that is working. That was just my YouTube kind of check to make sure that we actually are live, and we are, so we're good. So awesome that you guys came. I really, really appreciate it. And so I wanted to say hi to everyone who's showing up. Leah, great to see you. Nick, cool. Ms. Melanie, Joselle Tech. Okay, first of all, I always have to make this announcement. The lovely and talented Joselle Tech. Hashem is here. He's the man. Lovely and talented Joselle Tech will be our moderator today. And Joselle is on the Verhal team and the Brand Design Masters team. And she is going to be collecting questions. So I have to put this up on the screen. If you have a question while we're going through today's presentation, please type the word question in all caps before your question. And that way, Joselle will be alerted so she can copy the question, paste it, stick it into Messenger so I can see them all in one place rather than having to scroll back through the chat feed. So that's how we do it around here at Channel VanDusen. And so yes, absolutely. Colette says Joselle rocks, and she totally does. Hey, Thomas. Hey, Anita. Ian. Great to see you, Ian. Ian is a Brand Design Masters Guild member. Pascal is here. Aaron is here. Laura is here. Paul is here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And Brad is here. Sorry, I am a little froggy today. So, you know, I clear my throat a lot anyway. It's going to be a lot more today for some reason. So I'm going to apologize right now, and then I'm not going to do it again because Joselle says, stop apologizing. So anyway, one quick little thing. I told Peter I was going to give him a shout out, but I want to show you guys how you get people's attention. When I did a live about a month ago, I was drinking Red Bull like I usually do when I go live. And I said, the reason I do this is because Red Bull keeps my lips moving. And Peter glommed onto that and said, that should be, you know, the name of your book or something like that. So then, lo and behold, like 2 weeks later, I get this in the mail. Check that out. That is Red Bull Keeps My Lips Moving. It is a bumper sticker, and it was sent to me in the mail by Peter Lewis. And I love it so much I haven't had the heart to like peel it off and put it on my bumper or my laptop or anything yet. But I wanted you guys to see that. And so Peter is a Brand Design Masters Guild member. So I know Peter anyway. But that just really, like, it was a very nice gesture, very cool and thoughtful and fun. And Peter is the man. So that's that. I hope everybody is happy and healthy and COVID is treating you okay. I have a lot of tech going on here today. I have a teleprompter that I'm using now, and I trigger the slides with my phone, which is down here. It's all kind of hooked in together, and I'm gonna have to reach over and do something on my iPad by my teleprompter because I just noticed a notification came up. I'm not going to be able to read stuff. So there is a whole lot of tech happening, and I got my Ecamm Live set up. And I also wanted to share that Ecamm Live now built in the capability of bringing people on live. You can bring up to 5 people on live with you. All you have to do is email them a link and they can pop onto the screen. So one of the things I'm going to start doing, and probably in the Brand Design Masters Facebook group, and I'm going to put this up there so everyone can see that. Got to take this off. If you're not a member of the Brand Design Masters Facebook group, hey, Sid Blaze. He is totally the man. I worked with Sid at an agency back in the fashion industry like 20 years ago. Sid is an amazing illustrator. So you should totally check Sid Blaze's stuff out. So if you're not a member of the Brand Design Masters Facebook group, I recommend that you go and join because I go live in there periodically. And one of the things that I'm deciding that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to start taking advantage of this Ecamm Live capability of bringing people on as spot, kind of like interviews. You can bring them on, you can pop them off, you can bring someone else on. I'm thinking of doing like basically like a virtual coffee every week or every other week, and just bringing on 4 or 5 of the Brand Design Masters Facebook group members and just having a chat. Just, have some coffee. And that's the way I'm going to start checking out this technology. But I'm really excited about that, and I wanted to tell you about it. So if you're not a member of the Facebook group, definitely join, because that's where I'm going to be doing it. Now, hold on a second. I'm going to reach up here and kind of fix this tech. Sorry, I had to do something. It might happen again, but so that's cool. Another thing, one of the reasons why I haven't been that active, I haven't been posting videos every week on YouTube for almost 6 weeks now. It's freaking me out because I've been putting up a video every week for 5 years now. But I had to make the conscious effort of doing that because I'm working on my first course. My first course, called Brand Strategy 101 with VanDusen, is going to launch in February. And putting together a course is an incredible amount of work. And so I really had to kind of mothball some of my content work in order to get this course going, and to put in the work I had to do in the time that I had to do it. And so I'm really excited about it, and it's going to be an amazing course, and you're going to hear a lot more about it if you're on my email list or in the Facebook group. And it's going to be giving people the tools, even if you're not a brand strategist or just curious about it, how you can start to sell strategy in your agency, increase the size of projects you're getting, get paid for your thinking, and make more money on the whole. And it's a very relatively simple toolkit that I've been using, and I've trained a couple other people how to use, Joselle being one of them. And it's going to be an amazing course. So you could definitely perk your ears up for that one. And at the bottom of the screen, you see it says join us, philipvandusen.com/muse. That is my newsletter link. So sign up for my newsletter. That's where I'm going to be announcing all of this stuff. So check that out. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Vincent is here. David is here. Daniel, I think I said hello to. So great to see all you guys. Floor is here. Sakatini is here. All right, let's go. Another little housekeeping thing I have to mention. Do you have a price tag for this course, Daniel? Yes, I do. I'm not going to disclose that yet. We have time. So appreciate the question, but that's still in the black box. Okay, so one of the things, and this is just, gotta say it, down in the bottom of the chat window on YouTube is a little gray $, and that is called Super Chat. You can donate coffee money to me for the value that I'm giving you here today. I would really greatly appreciate it. Every dollar helps these days, right? Everyone knows that. So if you want to throw, a couple bills in my tip jar for showing up today, I would really appreciate it. That would be really great. So now, all the other housekeeping things. Gonna do this. Wait, got to take that away. Hold on. There we go. Take this away. That's me, as you know. And then my newsletter has been up there, but if you aren't subscribed yet, you should definitely subscribe. My newsletter also has been kind of on hiatus as I've been working on this course, so they haven't been coming out that often too. But as the course starts to get baked, and it really is now starting to get baked, I'll be able to kind of get back into publishing more content. So make sure you're on the list. And then the Facebook group, which I mentioned, Brand Design Masters Facebook group, definitely join, get there. Peter Lewis, you rock as usual. I really appreciate that super chat. And then Instagram. I don't do a lot of Instagram, but Joselle is hammering me to do more and more. So I am, and I actually went live on Instagram for 5 minutes, about 20 minutes ago, just to kind of bring everybody over from Instagram over here. So follow me on Instagram. I'm going to start getting more active there as well. And LinkedIn, which is going to be a part of this presentation today, is also a key place to connect with me. So definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. And finally, on Twitter. Not as active on Twitter anymore these days. Used to use it a lot as a promotional platform, but I found it to be a bit of an echo chamber. But connect with me on Twitter. I do use it periodically. So all of that. Now, one last housekeeping thing, and then we'll jump into the content. Sound good? Bring your own laptop. Daniel Scott is an amazing certified Adobe trainer. He's spoken at the Adobe Max conference as a keynote speaker. He has a video training course for Adobe products called Bring Your Own Laptop. If you go to byol.me/Philip, that's my affiliate link. And his courses are delivered via subscription. And the subscription is like amazingly cheap for the quality of videos that he has. It's like $15 a month or something like that. And I recommend that if you want to learn any kind of Adobe stuff, that you check out Bring Your Own Laptops courses, because they are amazing. And Daniel is a really, really great teacher. I'm a teacher, and I know great teachers when I see them, and Daniel is one. So definitely check that out. So that's that. I am going to also, I think this notifications thing on my iPad is going to annoy me today, but we're just going to have to roll with it. All right. You guys ready? You guys ready to hear a little bit about how to get clients? Yeah? All right. Vincent asked a very smart question. How much is beer in the U.S.? Vince, try and stay on topic, dude. That's so funny. All right. Here we go. Now, one of the things I have to do is I have to scoot myself over, because I'm going to show some slides, and I'm going to have to be moved over to show the slides. So let's talk about freelance clients. How do you find freelance clients? And as I said, I am going to share a kind of a bit of a secret weapon that I have. Oh, you know what it is? It's Messenger. Messenger is what's popping up on my iPad, Joselle. It's popping up right in front of me, and I wish I could jump up there and get rid of it, but I can't right now. So every time you send me a question, that's going to happen. Okay. Stay to the very end, because I'm going to be sharing a secret weapon of how to get freelance clients. And it's a very interesting method that a number of my mentees have used, as well as some of my Brand Design Masters Guild members have used. And it's been very successful in garnering them clients. And I want to say it's a little bit of an advanced technique, but not super advanced. So it's not something that you absolutely can't do, but you want to stay to the end for that secret weapon. Okay, so let's talk about how to find freelance clients. One thing you have to know is that there's basically two ways to get clients. You go to them, which is promotion. You're going out and you're putting yourself in front of them actively, is promotion. And then you get them to come to you, is attraction. And notice that I didn't use the word passive. There's a lot of, people talking about passive income and stuff, and passive, business development. Passive does not enter into any kind of business development, really. Both of them take action on your part. And the amount of action and how difficult that action is will vary. But for the most part, promotion, and I'm going to go to this, we're going to see this slide a couple times in a build, but promotion is faster. So you get clients or activity in your business development pipeline faster via promotion. And attraction has a longer timeline. So we're going to talk about some business development techniques along this timeline. Some are going to be more rapid, some are going to be a longer timeline horizon. And then we're going to have that secret weapon at the end. But so I wanted to kind of lay this out as a construct. And I'm going to go through them from the fastest to the slowest, and we'll see this slide build. So that is what we're going to be talking about. So the first thing you got to do, you have to jump on the low-hanging fruit. You got to start with people that you know. And some people have a tendency to kind of jump right over this one, and it's a big mistake. You got to start with it can be as simple as friends and family, friends of friends, old school connections, old coworkers, people that you've worked on projects with, old contractors that you have used for projects, people that you have just met at a conference and gathered their business card and never called them. Start with people that you've met and that you know. That is word of mouth marketing. You are getting them, you're getting across to them through word of mouth that you're looking for work and what kind of work you want. And then they're going to be using that to talk about you with their network or make referrals for you to their network. And so the question is kind of like, how do you go about that, right? There's a couple different ways. And one is, that I've been using recently, which I think is really, really effective. And I'll get to that in a second. Am I coming through all right? You guys hearing everything, seeing everything? Is everything good? Just give me a thumbs up or a happy face or whatever in the comments. Yeah, Dispeller. Yeah, dude, I have like 200,000 subscribers. Yeah, finally hit that, man. It was taking forever to get there. And wait, I'm going to turn this off for a second. Some of you know this, but this is my YouTube $100,000 plaque, which they sent me when I met 200,000. They were like a year and a half late in sending me this. Anyway, but that's an aside. So how do you go about approaching people that you know? You can either, text them. If you know them well enough, give them a call. Telephones still work these days. Send them an email, but make sure that you're making the email very personal. Make sure that you mention something that you know about them. You don't want it to be kind of a form email. You can use a paragraph, that's a form, maybe describing what kind of work that you want, but you want to make sure that it gets across that the email is personally addressed and that you are really talking to them. This goes doubly for LinkedIn because I get pinged so much by people who want to engage with me, but you can smell it from a mile away, like you can smell advertising, that it's a bot or it's some sort of cut and paste job, and you don't want to do that because you're chopping off that relationship from the get-go. Now, another way that I've been using recently, and a lot of people that I know have been using, is using short video. There's an app called Bonjoro, which allows you to send video through email. Essentially, it's kind of a link, but it's a very quick and easy way to record videos and send them through email. You can also use Facebook Messenger emails. You could, if you can, record a super short email and compress it and actually place it into an email. Videos work because the more and more digital we've become with COVID, and even before that, business development has gotten very impersonal. So the more that you can make it one-on-one, actually talking to someone, them seeing you, it's much more difficult for them to ignore you. If they see a video of you talking to them, just relax in a relaxed way, people will respond. I would say the response rate for sending someone a video is probably like 4 times what it is sending them an email, if not more. So try to leverage video, Facebook Messenger video. You can post it on YouTube, make it private, send them a link. There's a number of different ways to do video to send people video messages. So I highly recommend doing that. And so what do you say? First of all, you describe the work that you want, and you ask what kind of referrals you would like from them, and tell them how they can help you very specifically. And here's the other thing. They may be reaching out to people with an email, right, or a text or whatever for you to recommend you. Here's one of the things that you want to make sure that you do. You want to make sure that you make it super easy for them. You want to basically give them cut and paste text, a script that they can copy and paste into an email that makes it super easy for them to recommend you. It could literally be the recommendation email with a sentence at the beginning that they can personalize. Because if you put it on them to kind of describe what it is that you do or what kind of work you want to get, something's going to get lost in translation. So make it really easy for them and give them some swipe copy in order to make it super easy for them to share. And remember to always say thank you. If they do anything for you, even if they respond to you, give them a big thank you. You have to show your appreciation. Okay. Sorry. There we go. All right, next. Masterminds is being a member of a mastermind, and there are a number of the Brand Design Masters Guild members in the chat here. They are very engaged people, and their businesses, for the most part, are blowing up. And part of that is due to the fact that they made the financial commitment and the time commitment and the psychological commitment to become part of a mastermind. It overnight expands your network. You meet other experts who are serious about their business. And the thing about masterminds is that it immediately 10x's your range of networks, your understanding of secrets, your resources, your methods. You can leverage their networks. They can leverage your networks. It's like an immediate family it's like an agency that happens overnight. And you can partner with them on projects. That's the other thing that I saw happen a lot in the Brand Design Masters Guild that I wasn't really as expecting as much as I have ended up seeing it do, is that the Brand Design Masters Guild people use each other and leverage each other for projects. And a number of them their businesses have grown as a result of it. So as we move down that timeline from immediate to longer term, Masterminds is a great kind of word of mouth network building business development activity that I cannot stress strongly enough is really critical or super helpful. And with that, I'm going to throw on just a quick promo. I've run 2 Brand Design Masters Guilds so far, Guild 1 and Guild 2. They are 12 weeks long, and I'm going to be starting a series of 4 or 8 more next year. The first one's going to begin in January, and we are currently taking applications for that guild. So if you're interested in joining the Brand Design Masters Guild, it's $14.97. It runs 12 weeks. This may very well be the last time it appears at this price. And if you go to bdmpodcast.com/guild, you will get led to a landing page, which will then take you to a form. And you need to fill out an application form with a lot of information about your business, because I curate these groups very tightly. And I take into consideration what people's goals are, how far they are along in their journey as I put these guild mastermind groups together. And as I know, a number of the people in the chat will attest, it's an incredibly effective method for business development. So check that out if you're at all interested. I'm going to be doing some more webinars for the guild in pretty shortly, but I wanted to mention it here. I'm not going to go super deep into it, but write that URL down if you're interested. Okay. Now, sorry, gotta advance the next slide. Here we go. You guys good? Everyone doing good? Peter says, join the guild, you won't regret it. And I know that is absolutely true. Thanks, Ian, for the super chat. Really appreciate that. You too, Colette. Okay, let's go old school. Let's go retro. Creative professionals very rarely use advertising, especially individual freelancers. And you can get real traction from advertising. It can also really help you build your email list. You've heard that said before, you have to spend money to make money. Now, probably the lowest hanging fruit on this is Facebook ads. Facebook ads are really cheap. You can start for like $5 a day. And there's a little method that I want you to think about when you do Facebook ads. What you do is when you go on Facebook and you start a Facebook advertising account, you get a pixel. It's a little snippet of code that you can put on your website or put on a blog post. So when people go there from Facebook, Facebook will record that person went to your site on Facebook. And so you then have them as a targeted audience and someone that you can direct advertising to directly on Facebook. So you can put an ad up on Facebook, but people, as I said, can smell advertising, right? So if you're trying to sell something with your initial ad on Facebook, you might not get as many people clicking through to it. So what you want to do is actually promote a blog post or something of value, an article, a PDF, a lead magnet, whatever that is, and get people to go read that blog post or get that lead magnet. because you're not selling them hard. But the thing is that then Facebook captures them and they tag them via that pixel as someone who's interested in your stuff. And so then when you start running real ads for products or services on Facebook, you can target those people specifically. And then you can create lookalike audiences through the Facebook advertising interface. So it'll take that group of people, and then Facebook will, through its all-encompassing knowledge base of knowing everything about you, it will create a much larger expanded audience of people who are like those people. So Facebook ads. Google ads are also great. They're not as cheap, but they can also be very effective. And running Google AdWords is awesome, and they have, obviously, with Google Analytics, incredible analytics around your advertising. So while they're not cheaper, they also are very effective. I also just recently ran a LinkedIn advertising campaign for a client of mine. That is definitely not cheap, but LinkedIn's targeting mechanisms are incredible. You can target like CFOs and CMOs specifically across companies that are small to medium size or large enterprise size. You can like get crazy about your targeting on LinkedIn advertising. And the cool thing about LinkedIn, it's not like Facebook, and the fact that it's based around people's industries and their job titles and what their responsibilities are and their interests, business aspects of targeting. And so that's what makes LinkedIn paid advertising effective. But as I said, it's not cheap. Now, you can also go super old school. Back in the old days, right? How do you do advertising? You get business cards printed up, you start sticking them on thumbtack boards in coffee shops and grocery stores, and leaving them on doctor's office, coffee tables. You can go that way. You can print flyers. You can put things on bulletin boards. I mean, you can make fridge magnets and beer koozies and, all sorts of swag, stress balls, and you can advertise in really old school ways as well. Now, when we talk about advertising in that timeline, advertising is as promotional as it gets, right? So promotion, and you will get a speedy response when you advertise. It takes money to do it, but if you need clients and you want to drive that business development pipeline, get it rocking pretty fast, advertising and promotion kind of is the way to go. All right, now let's talk about listing sites. And I specifically called out, how's everyone doing? I know I have a tendency to get super business head and I'm so focused on what I'm talking about. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate the super chat. That's awesome. Hey, Rosh, Nirmana, Hawken, Mark. All right. Wendell is here. And sorry, I'm totally losing my train of thought. Jarmel is here. That's cool. Victoria is here. I wanted to call out specifically non-marketplace sites. And why I'm saying that is that I'm not talking about the 99 Designs. I'm not talking about the Fivers of the world. The things that are driving down and creating incredibly negative pricing pressure on the creative industries. I'm talking about sites where clients will list freelance jobs, and anyone who's a freelancer can respond. And it's not like there's any, kind of memberships or no dues that you're paying. The listing agent, the listing company may have to pay something to list their freelance job, but it's not like the relationship is controlled from the get-go by some sort of service site. So totally old school is Craig, and I'm going to this is Craigslist, right? You know what Craigslist looks like. It is so incredibly old school internet. It's amazing. But the thing is that there's a ton of stuff on there and it still works. Here's the other thing is that you can look very hyper specific in terms of geography if you only want to work with people who are in your state or in your county or whatever that is, or you can look all over the country. And so if once you start looking all over the country, the listings like totally add up, but there's no way to search Craigslist for the whole country. You have to basically do it regionally to an extent. So you can list your services there, so people looking for services can find you, but also people are listing freelance jobs there, and you can go and find them. And don't stay just local. Branch out. Go look in other cities, right? Everything's digital, so you can do business with someone in LA if you live in New York just as easy as vice versa. Another great site for this is Crop. Sorry, I'm going to back up a slide. Another krop.com. If someone can type that in the chat, that would be great. Crop.com is another freelance job listing site. There's another site called smashingjobs.com. Someone type that too, please. That would be great. Smashingjobs.com. And then a really great one that's put up by the Communication Arts magazine is a site called Creative Hotlist. Creative Hotlist is a great freelance job posting site as well. They have jobs, but they also have freelance and part-time jobs. So that's another way that you can make connections and get freelance work, get clients. Now, the other thing is you can work hyper-specifically. Every town has a chamber of commerce, and local business owners are the members of that chamber of commerce. I have joined my local chamber of commerce for the first couple of years of my agency business, so I could meet local business owners. They generally have websites. You can advertise usually for super cheap on those websites. Local neighborhoods also generally have Facebook groups. I live outside of New York City, and there is an incredibly large and active Facebook group for creative professionals in my area. And people who are looking for freelancers go there and ask, does anyone know anybody who does websites or illustration or whatever that is? And so Facebook for local community groups can also be a great way to promote your services. Generally, promotion isn't really smiled upon in groups like that, but you can have your antenna up for people who are looking for freelance work or freelance. They're looking for freelancers. All right. Now, this is an interesting one, and one I think that a lot of people don't pay a lot of attention to. And while you can give a webinar or a training online, and that is a great way of going about it, I'm not sure that most people don't really understand why you do that or what happens when you do that. Back in the days when we could meet face to face, and kids could go to school and you could go to a party or a cocktail party. Locally, a lot of educational institutions, high schools, community colleges have learning programs, continuing education learning programs for people who are now professionals or have a business and they want to learn about something. They want to learn about photography or dance or yoga. But a lot of times they also have programs in marketing. So how to improve your Facebook page, how to use Twitter, how to improve your website. You can develop a very simple training or an advanced training for people in these sort of community continuing education settings. The thing about that is, and this is what I mean around it's counterintuitive, you want to teach everything that you know. You want to teach them to do what you do. Offer a course like branding for small business or video marketing for entrepreneurs or whatever that is, video editing for entrepreneurs. And you are establishing yourself as an expert. These business owners who are looking to learn this sort of thing will come to know and be aware of who you are, see you as an expert. And then also, here's the thing, they may learn about the thing that you're teaching them, but they don't have the time to do it. So they're going to end up coming back to you and hiring you to do it anyway. So it's a great method for business development is giving trainings. And as I said, you can give a webinar on Zoom or on Demio or live on Facebook or wherever that is. You can take out Facebook ads to drive people there and give a course on that thing that you are an expert at or that you're really good at or that you want to do for people. And they will learn it, but in the process of learning it, they will also see you as an expert, and many of them will come back to hire you to do it. So giving trainings, whether that's a webinar or a physical training at a school. Oh, another thing is co-working spaces. A lot of co-working spaces have like continuing education programs or seminars, and they offer those classes in the co-working spaces. So that's another thing you can do. You can go to co-working spaces or call them up and say, do you do any programs for education? I'd love to give a little seminar or a training class on X, whatever that is that you do. And try that out. The co-working space that I was a member of for a couple of years before I rented my own office, they did that. And I actually went to a couple of really cool trainings and saw one on Twitter advertising, which was really informative to me right when I was starting my agency. So you never know. And that person who gave that training was an amazing copywriter, and I actually hired her to do some copywriting on a project once. So personal experience, even as an agency person, there was a freelancer who gave a training and they got work out of it. So there you go. All right, now let's talk about, so let's go back and look at our time horizon thing. Everyone tracking with me? Everyone tracking? All right, cool. Here's our timeline horizon, right? So short promotional and attraction being longer timeline. What we've been talking about so far is in the short promotional side. So masterminds, word of mouth, giving trainings, taking out ads. Those things will drive new business pretty quickly. Ads probably being the absolute quickest. Now, as we start to move to the middle and to the farther end of that attraction kind of part of the timeline of business development, let's talk about that a little bit. Okay? Sound good? And as I said, I'm going to put this up one more time. Joselle said this at the beginning. If you have a question for the Q&A section at the end, just type question in all caps before your question. So Joselle can capture it and paste it into Facebook Messenger for me. Red Bull keeps my lips moving. For anyone who wasn't here at the very beginning who then sees that when they're watching the replay, it's going to be pretty funny. They're not going to know what the hell I was talking about. Okay, let me take that back off. Now, let's talk about lead magnets and freebies. Everyone knows that building an email list is really important. You have to own your own list. You can have Facebook groups out the wazoo. You can have Twitter followers out the wazoo. You can have YouTube followers out the wazoo, but you don't have their email address. The whole idea is to use social media to drive people to a lead magnet, free downloadable PDF, checklist, resource, ebook, how-to guide, whatever that is on a landing page. And they have to give you their email address in order to download it. And then you start to build an email list. Everyone wants something for free. And no one is going to give you their email address unless you give them something for free. Once you have their email address, it doesn't end the freebie lead magnet train, right? You want to use super openable subject lines in your emails that you start to send out to people on your list. And keep giving them value. Give. And before that receipt, before that kind of subliminal reciprocity, as I call it, will come back to you. An openable subject line might be something like, can I send you this cool PDF? Or I'd like to give you a free website audit or assessment. You want to make sure that the things that you're sharing or the things that you're giving away are shareable. People might want to share that PDF with someone else or might want to send that checklist to someone else. And they will do that, right? And you're not going to get that person on your email list because their friends sent it to them. But here's the thing. You always want to make sure that you brand everything that you put out there on social media, whether that's a lead magnet, whether it's an infographic, whether it's a quote that you put on Instagram. You'll notice that when I post quotes, and I post them a lot because I really love inspirational quotes, I always brand them. I put my website really tiny at the bottom. And, you know, the graphic is about the quote. It's about the person. It's about the inspiration. But it came because I brought it to the internet. And I want to get, a little tag for that. And so someone might share it and they might see that email address and they might go there just out of curiosity. Wow, that's really interesting. I wonder who this guy is who shared this quote that like really struck me. Like, I like the way he thinks. That's how this stuff happens. So you want to make sure that no matter what social media or lead magnets or anything that you put out there, you brand it, because that will start this trail, this magnetism of people moving back towards you over time. Now let's talk about engagement. Just like I was saying at the very beginning about video, and you can do text, you can do phone calls, you can send emails. Video is very personal. The more personalized, the more one-on-one, the more truly authentic you make communication, the better it works. Let me say that again. The more authentic, personal, and direct you make communication, the better it works. And the harder it is for people to ignore. And when you're doing any kind of self-promotion, business promotion, you don't want to be ignored or put in the trash bin. So engagement is important because it is where you start to truly engage in a conversation with people. This is through online forums, it's through Facebook groups, it's from LinkedIn groups, it's going to industry websites, industries that are target client industries that you might be interested in, and engaging in those chats, in the blogs, in the communities. Ask questions about the industry that people can answer. Start a conversation. Give before the ask. Because you will start to develop relationships. People will start to understand, recognize your avatar, recognize your name, and you will become recognizable as an expert in what you do, or someone who they are just really aware of. And then when it comes time for you to reach out to them on LinkedIn or ask them to go download a lead magnet, they're going to be a lot warmer to that. So engagement is probably one of the longest tail aspects of business development, but it's a really important one because it also trains you to be really authentic, and it trains you to get engaged in a conversation, in a community. That's where you get known. So now let's talk about your brand ecosystem. And this, to a certain extent, it goes without saying. But here's the thing. People think, if I put my portfolio up on Behance and I do a website, and post a couple blog posts, build it and they will come. Well, they're not going to. You have to draw them there somehow. But that doesn't mean that you can't not build it. You have to build a brand ecosystem of your own. You need a website. You need to have your portfolio on your website. You also probably need to post it on an external website, a searchable website. You want to, get into developing some social media. Start small. Start with a channel or two. Don't try to be everywhere, everything to everybody, doing everything. This is a recipe for disaster. Get really good at a channel and then span out from there. Make your LinkedIn profile a lot better. And I'm actually going to do a separate live on this soon about how to develop your LinkedIn profile for creative professionals. And some of the guild members who are in the comment section right now have been recipients of some of this training through our work in the Mastermind Guild, and they can attest that this can really transform how your LinkedIn profile performs for you, because it makes it much more searchable. And LinkedIn search is almost as important as Google search, because being findable for what you do on LinkedIn is critically important. So I'm going to do some training around that pretty soon. But so that's another part of your ecosystem that you definitely want to make sure that you're addressing. You want to, like I said, your engagement, your conversations, your memberships, you're being a part of things, you're being, included in a mastermind group or starting a mastermind group. Those sorts of things are your brand ecosystem. They are the touch points of where you show up in the world. Social media, your website, portfolio sites, mastermind groups, forums, Facebook, right? Pay attention to what your spider chart is. You in the center, all the places you are on the outside. Start to map that out. You have to build a brand ecosystem. You have to pay attention to it, but it's a foundational element and a branching element for everything that you do. But when it comes to business development and getting freelance clients, you have to be out there enough that you can build awareness about your existence. So it's crucial that you start building those things. All right. Now, let's talk a little bit about content. Content in your brand ecosystem is important, and I'm not going to spend a tremendous amount of time on this because everyone who really follows me know that I talk about content a lot, because content marketing still really, really, really works. And I get contacted by people all the time through the new client application on my website because they came from YouTube. Videos that I published 3 years ago are still driving new clients to me. Content works. You have to be visible. Like I said, you have to build this brand ecosystem, and then you have to get out there and make yourself visible. I'm going to talk a little bit about the sales funnel, the awareness to action funnel, in a few minutes. But this is where that fits in. Your blog. So even if you're not writing original stuff and creating a blog regularly yourself, guest posting on other people's blogs count. Leveraging other people's audiences count. If you don't, you start a YouTube channel, start a podcast. But if you don't have those things, see if you can get appearances or get interviewed for other people's YouTube channels or other people's podcasts, and leverage the audience of others to get your content to tiptoe into getting appearances, to showing up in the digital sphere. As I said, building an email list, putting out a newsletter, putting out emails, also crucial. Social media content in general. So, tweets, LinkedIn posts, carousels, portfolio pieces, all those sorts of things. You want to make sure that you're pushing content out. And I have this saying that I say all the time: it's out of feed, out of mind. A website is not enough. You have to kind of constantly stay in the feed. And feeds have different lifespans, right? I have heard something like the lifespan of a Twitter tweet is about 10 minutes before it is so far out in the feed that no one will ever read it. So if you don't catch people's eye in that 10 minutes since you tweeted it, it's gone, right? So if you're going to really use Twitter as a strong platform for yourself, you got to tweet a lot because you got to stay in that feed. Now, LinkedIn, the life of a LinkedIn post is probably more like 3 to 5 days. It's a lot longer because the feeds aren't so crammed with content. And so think about the platform that you're using for your content and what the lifespan of that content is on that platform. YouTube, for instance, like I said, I've been doing YouTube now for 4.5, 5 years, and I constantly am getting people either commenting on or coming to me for business from pieces of content that are years old. So think about the lifespan of it. Podcasts will work that way for you too. All righty. Now, So let's look at that timeline horizon one more time. So in the short promotional side, we have ads, word of mouth, masterminds, training, and then we move towards a longer timeline horizon, which is magnets and engagement. And then building a brand ecosystem really kind of is over the entire thing. But then content is the longest tail aspect of business development. But it's none of these things. You want to kind of make sure that you're addressing long and short tail business development activities. Is everyone getting that? Take a screen capture of that one. All right. Now let's talk about the secret weapon. I talked about a secret weapon at the beginning, and you guys have stuck with me, and I really appreciate that. So here's a secret weapon. It's a particular platform, and it's a particular thing that you offer. Content marketing is great. the problem with it is that it takes incredible consistency, a lot of thought and energy, and it takes a long period of time. It's valuable to do. I'm not saying it's not. It's hugely valuable to do. But if you need clients now, it's not going to get you clients right now. This particular secret weapon I'm going to talk about is, the sales funnel starts with awareness. So awareness, which is the content in the feed, interest, which is consistency through content over time. And here, let me go to this next slide. At the top is awareness, which is your brand ecosystem and driving interest in you. That's where you show up in the feed. That's where people realize that you exist. Interest is when they start following you or start paying attention to what it is that you're doing or putting out there. And then at one moment in time, the need on their part comes for something that you do, and they make the decision to contact you or go with you. And then after they make that decision to reach out to you, eventually there's a proposal, there's a conversation, and action takes place where they hire you, they buy. These are kind of the 4 stages of the sales funnel, right? And so your brand ecosystem and your content lives on those kind of upper 2 wider levels of the pyramid. And then word of mouth, advertising, all those sorts of things get right to decision and action. So this secret weapon I'm going to tell you about, the secret process, really is the goal of this is to jump from right over awareness and interest and directly into decision and action. And so the method that I'm going to tell you about uses one particular platform, LinkedIn. And sorry, hold on a second. It uses the LinkedIn platform because you can do everything on LinkedIn. You can message someone on LinkedIn. They can contact you back on LinkedIn. You can ask for referrals on LinkedIn. That referral can happen on LinkedIn. It's a completely self-contained platform where there are no distractions. Everyone is there for business. Businesses are expecting to be pitched, and everyone wants to network more than ever. Sorry, I got to navigate something. So how do you do this? What you need in order to jump over those 2 levels of the sales cycle is you need advocates. You need advocates to refer you to other people. And as I started off this presentation around word of mouth, you want to reach out to those network connections, those LinkedIn connections, the old coworkers, the connections of connections, 2nd and 3rd level connections. And try to look for those people who might be able to help you. And they can also be prospects that, maybe didn't buy from you a while back, but now maybe they're ready to. So you reach out to those people. And again, just like I said, via email, in a LinkedIn message, you ask them for help in referring you. But here's the thing. You need, and as I said, secret weapon on purpose, you need to give them the ammo for this to be a weapon. So you need to go to them and say, a lot of people say, so what do I say? What do I say when I reach out to a contact? You may want to start off by just giving them a little bit of value. So send them an article. Tell them why you think it's interesting for them. Send them the link to a resource. Tell them why you think it would really help them. Start off light. But then eventually, when you have the ask, you can ask, people say, what do I say? You want to develop your elevator pitch to them. And essentially, it's kind of a positioning statement pitch. You want to say who you help, what you help them to do, and what it is that you provide. So I help X do X by providing Z, right? I help, small to medium size. I help coffee shops sell memberships by doing X. And then you want to, like I said at the beginning, you want to provide them with some swipe copy, something that's cut and paste, that all they have to do is address it to their connection and hit send. It says, I have this great, friend who is a illustrator, and I've noticed that, you might want to be looking at the illustration on your website. this is a guy who might be able to give you a great, idea. Or I've noticed that your website, your competitors' websites are looking really amazing and yours hasn't been updated in a while. I know this web developer, her name is, Sally G, and here's her website. She does amazing, website work. She helps coffee shops build memberships by doing blah, blah, blah. And this is an email that you write and that you are providing them so they can just copy and paste it and send it to their connection. You want to use word of mouth. And by giving that value, giving that, that curated content, that PDF, whatever that is what's cementing the deal. And so you finally get in touch with these people, right? You contact them, you get a referral, or you directly connect with a prospect. And here's what you do. You say, I've been on your web. If the first thing I talked about was when the referral was doing it. Like, you get someone to refer you to them, and then you give them that kind of cut and paste statement, and that can elicit action. The other kind of secret method, secret weapon part of it, is where you directly contact someone on LinkedIn. And this takes some action on your part. You have to do a little research on them, and say you look at their coffee shop and you look at their website. Their website is looking tired. And you think, I can really help these people with a website. What you want to do is you want to reach out to them and say, I'd love to give you a free audit of your competition. I've noticed that, your website, you don't want to disparage their website. You don't want to badmouth their website, but you might want to say, that I have some ideas about your website, and you might want to look at what your competition is doing. Would you be open to my doing a bit of an audit on your brand or on your competition for you? Do it for free, just kind of show you what I know, what I've learned. They're not going to say no. And so you want to go out and look at their website, develop a point of view around it, maybe do a little audit of their competition, and then come back to them with a little bit of a review and an audit of their brand, and give them your opinion for free. Here's how this works. When you do that, and they suddenly see from an expert that aspects of what they're doing could be better, or their competition is doing it better than they are, what that does is it's the princess and the pea. You guys know the old fable of the princess and the pea, right? The pea goes under the princess's mattress, and there's many layers of mattress, but she can feel it, and it drives her crazy. That's exactly what this is. You are setting the pea under the mattress of your prospect, because once they know that their competition is doing something better than they are, or that there's something on their website that could be better than it is to have a more effective result, it will eat at them. And the fact that you brought that to them will show that you're observant, you're smart, and you may be the expert who can fix it for them. There are a lot of people, and a number of them are actually even in this chat, who have used this method, and it has gotten them work. By offering a free brand audit and a point of view on a prospect's business, website, social media channels, whatever that is, for free, starts a conversation, gets you in the door, and proves a lot of stuff that can eventually bring you work, and sometimes immediately bring you work. So I wanted to share that with you. And that's where that LinkedIn referral and free audit comes in. This is not a long tail thing. This can happen pretty quick. So it really lives on the kind of the short end, the promotional side of the timeline. And it's some action that you can take immediately, and the response to it sometimes is very quick too. So it's not like way out here on the content end of the timeline spectrum. It's kind of more in on the training, word of mouth, referral end of the spectrum. But it's a specific kind of process of contacting someone on a specific platform and offering them a specific thing that is proven to get action. Now, it is doing, to a certain extent, work on spec. But if you can garner clients, 50% of the time after out of doing this, or 25% of the time, that's a pretty good business development success rate. So I would recommend that you give it a try and see what happens. And then when you do, come back and report to me about it, because I'd love to hear these kind of case studies about how how it's working for people. And that's why I'm actually presenting it in this live like I am, because I have already gotten like some serious reports from people that this works. And so that's that. That is my presentation today, you guys. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to center myself again. And I may even zoom in on myself a little bit. There we go. So what'd you guys think? Put it in the comments. I think I hit like an hour, yeah, I did, on the freaking dot. That's pretty amazing. I had an hour presentation right on the dot. And so I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your questions. Business development is, of utmost importance these days. And I just wanted to share maybe some methods or techniques or thoughts about getting clients that you might not have thought of, or if you are leveraging them, that you might figure out how to leverage in a different way. Everyone needs more clients these days. And I wanted to kind of give you some more tools to put in your toolkit, and maybe a slightly different perspective on how you can utilize some of them. So with that, like I said, type question in all caps before your question if you have a question, and I will address as many of them as I can. I feel like, I feel like to a certain extent when I was describing that, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole in the very beginning, the secret weapon part, and I started talking about LinkedIn referrals and getting other people to make referrals for you before I kind of went directly to the audit piece. It's kind of a two-part thing, but the second one, where you're connecting with someone directly and offering a free audit of their brand, is the most direct and simplest way to go about it. So if I muddied that pond a little bit, I apologize about that. Sid, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I really, really appreciate it. If anyone else sees that gray $ below the chat and wants to send me a super chat, little tip in the tip jar, that would be really awesome. Mel, super sticker, awesome. That's cool. That's cool. All right, guys, let me start looking at the questions. So, Philip the Legend, Tay, how are you? What'd you guys think? Just before I get into the questions, what'd you guys think? Was that helpful? I'd love to, I know that there's a lag on YouTube, and it's going to take a while for this to kind of come through. But Laura says amazing content, crazy informative as always. Okay, cool. All right. Why don't we look at got it? Dave says got it. Okay. Let's look at some questions here. I'm looking over what Joselle has sent me. Peter says, is it impossible to embed a video clip into a PDF lead magnet that then can be emailed? That is a good tech question, Peter, and I'm not sure I have the answer to it. I don't know. Does anyone in chat know that? Does anyone know, is it possible to embed a video clip into a PDF that can be emailed? I mean, if it can be emailed, it would have to be damn small. But as a PDF lead magnet, that would be interesting to know. I'd have to research that, Peter. Sorry, can't answer that one. Is it better to invest in SMS messaging platforms over email? Email is still king, but better than the other. Here, I'm gonna do something, you guys. I'm gonna scroll way back, and I'm gonna try to use some of my tech here to feature these questions in a little more interesting way. Vincent asked this question. Sorry, guys. Sorry for this hiccup. I guess this is not going to work. Okay. Um, Mark Hyde asked that question. Is it better to invest in SMS messaging platforms over email? Email is still king, but is one better than the other moving forward? Email is still king. I'm just going to put it out there and say email is still king. It will be king for the foreseeable future. SMS messaging and bots, that sort of chat, I think is seriously throwaway. Here's one of the problems with SMS messaging, and I don't know if you guys have the same frustration as I do, is that on the iPhone anyway, there's no way to mark a text message as unread. If you read it, it's gone. And if I read your message and you ask me something and then I can't get to it right away, it's gone. Out of feed, out of mind. I think, text messaging, number one, and the other thing is that text messaging is being used more and more by bots and spam. So I would want to get lost in that feed on a phone. I would stick with email, Mark. I really would. Ian asks, is there a good rule of thumb to follow so I don't neglect marketing or vice versa, spend too much time on it? I've heard people say you should spend about 20% of your time on marketing. Companies generally spend anywhere from 5 to 15% of their gross revenue on marketing. So that's something you should think about too. That's something that a lot of creative professionals don't think about at all, which is when they look at their gross annual revenue to take a percentage of that and actually take that money and invest it into marketing. Spend money on marketing, advertising, placement, swag, having a video produced for you if you're not a video editor, having some sound branding done for you. And so that's something you should also take into consideration. Håkan Miller says, how would all of this apply as a freelance journalist? Not sure how I promote my journalism in the way you are describing because publications don't actively look for freelancers. No, but freelancers actively pitch publications all the time. How do you think people end up getting posts in Forbes? How do you think people end up getting posts on Inc.magazine.com, right? Or Entrepreneur Online? Journalists have some of the most, and there are a lot of courses in this actually, on how to pitch articles for publication. And if you're a journalist, I would look into that kind of training. And there are journalists and people who are really, really good at teaching you how to craft the perfect pitch email, how to craft the perfect content that will be very attractive to those sorts of publications. There are specific ways to go about pitching writing to large outlets, digital outlets, physical outlets, to get your journalism published. Now, if you're talking about news journalism and like current events, yes, then you're talking about, but that's not really I want to say that news journalism is a creative profession because it's not. It's kind of different, right? I hope that helps, Håkan, a little bit. Nick Mel asks, question, I work for a standards organization where I work directly with brand owners, and I feel I have found that that divides business and design. Not having a degree in design, would you use relative work experience? Mel, I'm not sure that I completely understand your question. A standards organization. All right, I was just trying to think through that question, and I'm not getting it. So Mel, if there's a way for you to ask that question in a different way, please do that, and I'll try to address it. All right, I'm going to scroll back through the questions because I know there were some that Giselle has not captured and texted me. I addressed that one. And if anyone has any other questions, please type them out now, because if there isn't a steady stream, I'm going to bolt. All right, so Ian. So I'm going to turn this off. Then I'm going to go like that. Ian said, how can I determine the best ROI between ads on Facebook, Google, LinkedIn? Is expense of LinkedIn justified, or if I can't afford it? The ROI of paid advertising is a test and repeat process. Even the largest companies, when they are trying to determine how and whether their money is well spent on an advertising platform, you just have to start. You have to set a budget for the platform, do some advertising, and see if you get traction, and then respond to and adjust to your successes. Now, I can't say right out of the gate which is the best ROI across those platforms. In terms of cost, you can get started with Facebook advertising for $5 a day. You can spend, $50 a week and get some messaging out there. LinkedIn's going to be more like, hundreds and thousands, but your targeting is a lot more specific to business. It's not as scattershot. So, but even the clients that I work with in advertising campaigns, you have to kind of run the campaign that's appropriate for the platform, set a budget for it, spend the budget, and then look at your analytics and make the educated decision whether your ROI is worth it for a particular platform, or whether one platform works much better for you over the other. It is literally a testing process. Okay. All right, I'm going to scroll down. I saw that one. Saw that one. Saw that one. Ian, you ask a lot of questions. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. But oh, interesting. Okay. David asks, have you already done, or will you do a live show on how to be efficient, or how to do good-looking and pleasant lives? So I guess that's how to do lives on YouTube, or how to do lives on Facebook. That's a great idea for doing a live on how to do lives. One of the things I was planning on doing on Instagram, but I ran out of time before I went live, and maybe I'll actually do it on Facebook. I will do this right when I get off. I've been planning on, just using my phone and giving like a little quick tour of my live setup. So like what I'm looking at, what I'm doing, everything is kind of like configured. Not quite going to get into the nuts and bolts of the software, but at least you can see kind of my setup. But that's a great idea. Maybe I'll do a live on how to do good lives. If you think my lives are good, that's the big question, right? Are my lives good? I don't know. Am I good enough to teach it? We'll see. All right. I'm going to scroll a little bit. Okay. All right, Nick. I'm going to put this question up there, but I'm not sure that I can answer it. Call center work, where I talk to companies, and barcode placement for the supply chain, UPC barcodes. Since I have no college degree, how would you leverage work experience over a degree? Mel, I'm not sure I totally understand what it is that you do. But in general, if you need to leverage work experience over the degree, lots of companies still, they need to see the degree letters in order to get past HR. Because a lot of times it's not the hiring manager who's throwing your resume out before it gets to, it's HR, or it's a bot. And so when you're submitting a resume, or when you're having that conversation, just really focus on your job experience, and make sure in your resume that you're formatting it in a way that is appropriate for resume reading bots. And if you search on Google, you can find out what that is. And that you're leveraging the exact keywords that are used in the job description in your resume in order to make it through the automated AI that goes into resume sorting. Hope that helps. Hawken asked, and I'm going to put this up there, but I don't have it specifically. Hawken said, what courses would you recommend for pitching to publications? There's a couple people who gave a presentation at the Upreneur conference in London about that, and I'd have to go back and look. But right off the top of my head, because it's not my thing, Hawken. If you ping me on Facebook Messenger, I'll see if I can search back through some of my old information and find that person who gave this incredible presentation on pitching to publications. But I just can't. I don't know her well, and I can't gather her name right at the moment. But ping me on Facebook. Okay. Okay. I think that's it. Wait, there's one by Tay. Tay said, sorry, it might not be relevant to the topic, but I always wanted to ask. When you interview for a potential role, what specific traits do you look for in a designer, CD to designer? What specific traits do I look for? I've done a couple really great videos on this, and actually I got teased on the Brand Design Masters Facebook group recently by one of my guild members, Steph, who said that I'm like the guy who says, I got a video for that. And I do. I have a video for like almost all of these questions. I have two particular videos on interviewing for creative professionals, interviewing skills for creative professionals, and how to, ace an interview. I would definitely check that out because I cover a lot of the kind of key things about how to position yourself when you're going for a job. But one of the key things that I look for when I've interviewed thousands of designers and hired over 400 in my career, and one of the things that I always really paid attention to was how they presented their work, how they verbally voiced over their work, how they described it. If they went straight to aesthetics, like I use this color, this picture, this font for this reason because I thought it looked cool and I like this layout, a lot of designers think that way, and they think only in terms of aesthetics. What brought people above that line for me was when a designer presented their work in a more strategic way based on the creative brief. What did the client come to the agency or the freelancer for? What were they trying to accomplish? What was the business problem that they wanted to accomplish? Presenting the creative brief question and then positioning and describing the work as they presented it in that kind of format. We, took this sort of approach with this sort of graphic, this layout, this font, this color, because of X, to address this customer, to address this particular category, because the competition was doing this. It gave strategic reasoning and made it strategic design work rather than just graphic design work, rather than just aesthetics. And many designers are just driven by aesthetics. It took it into the realm of understanding the business of why we do what we do. And when I found designers who could speak about their work that way and present their work that way, that to me was a real unlock, because I knew that, number one, they thought about their work in a different and strategic way. And here's the other thing. When you talk about from designer to CD or CD to designer, that's the specific kind of unlock in a designer's thinking that has to happen before they elevate in their career to senior CD management. You have to start thinking about your work, not just aesthetically, but in terms of business, creative brief, target, what it's supposed to be doing. And this is the thing, be able to articulate that really clearly to the person that you're talking to. Because when you present work like that, when you're a CD and you're presenting work up to a client, you have to be able to talk about it in those terms, because that's what's going to sell the work through. So as early on in your career as possible, start to accumulate that vocabulary and how to talk about your work in that way. And that's one of the things that I really, really look for when I was interviewing people, Tay. Um, oh, shoot. Okay. Sorry about that. Drea, thank you so much for telling me I was popping because of plosives. I was getting too close. I should turn my volume up so I don't do that. Sorry. Really, thank you, Drea, so much for telling me that. I hate that. Um, and I think it was plosives, but I think also I was banging the table. When I bang the table, I think it's coming through there too. I love plosives, Peter says. I hate plosives, Philip says. But thank you so much for telling me that. I will totally back off my mic. All right, dudes and dudettes. I've been here for, I got 10 minutes. I was planning on being here for an hour and a half. But I may cut out if no one has any other questions. I will, before I cut out, just throw a couple more things up there. Make sure, if you haven't visited byol.me/Philip for some amazing Adobe courses from Daniel Scott, a certified Adobe trainer, check that out. It's only $15 a month, and he has killer courses on just about every major Adobe application. And here's the thing, he keeps them really up to date. So he like when a new version or a new Creative Suite app gets major updates, he'll like do a video about it. So if you need to know like all the stuff you missed in the last two versions of Illustrator or Photoshop since 2018, in the last 2 years, and there have been some serious things, check out his courses. And so there's that. And again, if you are not part of the Brand Design Masters Facebook group, please go to groups, Facebook/groups/Brand Design Masters, and join the Brand Design Masters Facebook group. It's a really amazing group of a ton of creative professionals at all different levels, from people who are just starting out to, there are some serious bigwig agency owners in there, I know. And so it's a great place to ask questions, to network, to develop those relationships that could lead to partnership projects, and get in there and mix it up. So definitely join that. That's also, as I said, where I may start to do some kind of like coffee chat lives with the new Ecamm Live functionality I was talking about at the very beginning. And also, I pop in there periodically and go live when I'm not going live on YouTube. So I will do lives in there that are just exclusive to Facebook, and my YouTube audience won't see them. So definitely join that. When you join, you have to answer a couple questions. It's a private group, so you got to answer a couple questions, got to cough up your email address, and then you get in. The email address goes onto my list, so you'll get my newsletter, stuff like that, but it's the price of all the free value and content that you'll get in that group. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you got some really great value out of my presentation on how you can get freelance clients. If you haven't, there's one other thing I wanted to mention, and that's my podcast. My podcast is called Brand Design Masters Podcast. It's on all the major platforms, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. And I interview some really killer people on there. Actually, this season I interviewed Marty Newmeyer, and he is like one of the design gods of all time, and some other really amazing people. So check out the Brand Design Masters podcast. I think you'll really enjoy it. And season 2 is just starting to drop, and they're come out every week, and there's about 10 or 11 in that series of season 2. And I'm just starting to record season 3 at this point. So check that out. So you guys, thank you so much again for joining me. Really appreciate it. And I hope you got value out of today. And ping me on Facebook Messenger. Shoot me a video. Here's a to-do list item for you. Shoot me a very quick video of you saying, "Hey, Phil, I'm X. I really liked your live on YouTube today." Practice. Break down the wall of fear, right? Just send a very quick video message to me via Facebook Messenger. I'd love to see your face and hear your voice. And it will also get you over that hump of starting to do that when you're pinging clients or prospects. and making that connection via video. I tell you, it works so much better than email or messaging. People have a really hard time ignoring a video message from somebody. You will get a response, I guarantee you. So try it out on me. I'd love to see it happen. All right, guys. Awesome. Thanks again for joining me. And sorry for the plosives, Bria. And I hope you guys have a great day. And we'll see you again soon.